Welcome, and in today's video, we're going to be going over how to make an SVG that you can use to import into your CNC CAM software. Specifically, going to do a Among Us Impostor edge-lit acrylic design. And I picked this one because it is a simple design, but it does make you have to make some choices on how you're going to design it. But we'll get into that. And also because my girls really love this, so it'll go to good use. I'm going to go over tracing the image out by mouse and also image tracing tool. Honestly, I've really fallen in love with the pen tool. Image tracing was fine at first, when I was first playing around, getting to know it. The pen tool does take some work, but just put in the practice and it just gets easier and easier. And it also gives you that skill in case you need to draw something out because the image trace just can't handle it because you don't have that great of a image to work off already. So let's jump into Illustrator and start tracing this out. All right. So now that we're in Illustrator, I also do want to say you can use Inkscape. The hotkeys will be different, but you'll still have the pen tool. You should also have image trace that you can use as well. You won't need image trace. We'll do all this with the pen tool and also just using the font. You're going to want to label your layers, right? As you can see here. I've already done this, but we'll draw them out again. I colored them in just to make it fun. But let's get on the right layer here. Let's scroll in. Okay, so we can either hit P or we can come here, grab our pen tool, and we'll just make a anchor point right there, drag this out. Let's make our stroke visible. This is going to be all detail work, so I'm just going to put the 0.1 millimeter because that's the size of the detail bit. Okay, make sure, I still have my anchor point, but let's just get rid of that and start a new one real quick. Okay, there, come out there. So we're going to come out this way. Make another anchor point. And so I just stopped there. So now I didn't stop and drag out. So watch, if I do this, and I click and drag, it gives me the anchor points again. So it's going to give me that nice curve. So come here, click, drag, cool, and just follow it around. Okay. Here, click. I want to do a little bit less. There. Click, drag. Click, drag. All right. So we got a decent size line. It's not showing up. I'm going to change it just a little bit bigger. No, that's too big. There we go. We'll do 1 millimeter for right now. Just so we can see where we're at. Come back here, drag out so we can keep that curve going. And you just do this all the way around. So let's just speed through this outer layer, or this outer line. All right, so if you just saw right there, I just took that anchor point. I wanted to, instead of having a curve, I want to get an angle. So just took that anchor point, I hit A, the anchor select tool, grabbed it, and dragged it back to the center. All right, so let's keep going. Almost finished here. Cool, and boom. All right, now we have a solid object. We can come here, select the entered Okay, so if we were to import this right now, if we hit the pocket, it would pocket this all out. If hit the contour, it would just follow the outer line. Okay, so that brings us to the innards now. As you notice, there's two tones of color here. You got a light and a dark, light, dark, and then you have 3 shades here for the helmet visor, but it's basically a light and a dark and a highlight. So I think the easiest way is always find the smallest pieces and break those down first. So let's zoom in on the arm. Now we're going to have 2 options here. We can either trace out this, just this light area, or we can trace out this dark area and have 2 full objects. Or we can trace out the whole outer layer and then just make a line here that isn't attached to it. It's just a line. Now, this is going to depend on what you want to do with it. Okay. If you want to pocket this all in right here and here, you would need to draw those two separate items. But in this case, I'm just going to do a line here because we're just doing detail work. We're not cutting anything. We're not pocketing it. And neither way is wrong. There's just different things you can do with it. So let's think of it this way. If we drew out this shape real quick, it's not perfect. We're going to delete this. And we had this shape, right? And it goes all the way down there, comes back up, and it makes it right there. So on this tool path, it's going to start cutting around here, going down here, and cutting right here, and then back up. It's going to keep doing that. Now, again, I'm just doing detail. So if I made this second one, down here as well, that bit is going to go over this part twice. Okay? Where, let's say, if I just draw a single body like that, and then just come in here with a line, it's only going to go over that once. So I just saved myself some cutting time because I'm not pocketing these. So that's a design decision. Neither way is right, neither way is wrong. But like I said, we're just going to be using this as detail. So we are not going to make this 2 separate items. So we're just going to trace out the outline here. And you can always go back and clean up all these lines. That's the nice thing about digital work. It's very easy to manipulate. There are no mistakes, and there's infinite redos. Go. We're just going to ctrl-j to join that there. All right, and now we got our arm. We hit P, and we're going to make our line here. Come off slightly to the right so it doesn't add an anchor. Well, it wouldn't because it's a closed object, but we can just put this here. There we go. And now we have our arm. All right. And the same thing's going to apply to the body here. We're just going to outline it and then just make a single line through here because we're not going to pocket any of this. We're just doing, again, it's simple detail. And then right here, we'll do the same thing for the light gray and the gray. And then on the highlight, of course, we'll make its own shape there as well. So going to trace this out real quick. And, while you're doing this, it does take some getting used to. Not going to lie. but once you get the hang of it, it's really worth it. So you can do some really cool stuff. All right, so let's slow down right here. This is when you have, a pretty sharp point. Cool thing is, I'm not sure if this is an Inkscape. I hope it is. I love this. It has this little dot right here. Just come and pull it, and boom. And we can go back. There we go. That simple. Takes away that sharp corner. Cool. I got that. Now I just got to finish up the eye. We're going to touch on the image trace tool. I'm actually going to show you why I don't like it as much. I used to like it, but if you don't have a really great picture, it's not going to work all that great. It's going to leave you with tons of line, lots of cleanup work. It's boring. It's tedious. Whereas this, at least, it feels like you're creating. There's a lot less anchor points, a lot less to deal with. Yes, you can control that. And yes, it is great for certain things like black and white logos, very simple designs. We probably could have ran this through there, but I just wanted to show how fast and easy that is. And now you've designed this. So, well, you've traced it, but you have had to make some decisions along the way. So we have our guy. Let's look at him. And that's our design path. And so we can come in and clean it up now. Promise we'll get to the image trace here in a little bit. Let's see that sticking over. And again, just hit a anchor tool. All right. So now that we have that, we want to get our text. So let's scroll here. And all right. So what we have here is this is text. This is image trace. And this is the original image. Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V. So if you make a clipping mask of it, you're going to need to rasterize it first. Transparent. There you go. Now you can image trace. All right. So image trace, they have all kinds of options here. We have basically 2 colors. So, and we only want 2 colors here if we were going to try to get this logo. And you just hit black and white and nothing. But that's because we need to bring the threshold down. Oh, doesn't work there. 45. All right. So it's working there. Still kind of sloppy. And really, this is about the best we're going to get. Even with the advanced settings, it's still just very round. It's not a straight, blocky feel. Noise really isn't going to do anything. If you are doing this, you can just always, if you want to ignore white, if your background's white, just hit that. It'll take it out. It doesn't matter. And then if you want to come in, what I was talking about earlier is cleanup. And yes, you can somewhat control this, but this, I feel, having to do this just takes so much more time, just moving all these individual ones. So, yeah, it's like I said, it's good for certain things, but it's not always the best. So we'll just delete this. And really, you can just go find find the font and use the actual font. I hate fonts, I know. They just suck. So we're going to get this in here. Okay. Now, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to group all of this. So just select all that, ctrl-G. And now it's one item. Right here, let's take this. We're going to bring it down to Impostor B. So we're keeping everything on the same level. Okay, now, because we grouped this, we can now align it to this. Okay, now, yes, I have everything aligning to the artboard, but let's say it wasn't aligned to the artboard, all these. So you can say align to selection. So if you bring this out and this out over here, now you hit this, centers it on each other. Let's say to artboard, boom, right in the middle of your artboard. But we can't do horizontal. It's going to do that to each other. So we're going to do Control-Z. So if we grouped it now, and then now it puts it in the center of our artboard. Now, we do want to do something a little bit different here. We're going to come over here and get our rounded rectangle. Let's go stroke 1 millimeter. Give you blue and you will be clear. All right. Okay, we'll group those. Now, here's something we want to measure real quick. Let's see how. All right. So when we cut this, this is going to be 1.84 millimeters. And that's important. If you get this too small, your bit's not going to be able to fit in there. Or pocket this and then contour this on the outside. So this would be recessed and this part out here would be forward, or we could pocket this white area here. And I think that's what we're going to do. So this comes up, and then these right here will be recessed as well. All these filled in spaces. Enclosed, sorry. All right. Now, I have this blank. It's from other ones I've done. It's just a general guide. But the main thing I focus on here is this part right here, this low part here. Okay, we can change up all that to fit our imposter sign here. So we're going to make sure those are grouped together. That's grouped together. All right. So we're going to align these. Cool. You know what? I want to bring this up just a little. There we go. That seems about right. Now I want to get this in the center of my artboard. Group that back together. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to lock this guy up here. We're going to come here. We're going to delete those. Okay, so now we have this, and we'll, here in a little bit, we will connect those. But first, we're going to come back to our outline here, and we're going to double click this guy, Control-C, and then Control-B. And so what that does is makes a copy and then puts a copy of it right behind it. So I'm going to come up, take it out of isolation mode, and there he is. All right, so now I'm going to go to Object, make sure I've got them selected, then go to Object, I'm going to go to Path, and Offset Path. And I'm going to change that to 3. It's a good distance away, and we're good. All right, so I'm going to take that. That's our new one. That's our old one. We can get rid of this old one now because we don't want 2 there. So more decisions. First one being, let's connecting this together. We're going to come here. We're going to add an anchor point. right there, go to our selection tool, and then get rid of it. There we go. Okay, now we're going to bring this guy right there. Not going to join it yet. We're just looking. See, I don't like that. And so you know what we're going to do? Come here, delete that guy, delete that guy, V, and now we're going to bring this guy, let's make sure we get both of them. I thought I grouped them. That's why it's good to group. And then we'll get that right there. Let's go just a little bit lower. There we go. I like that. A again. Then we're just going to come here, make sure they meet. Cool. Cool. And so now when we join these, all right. So I didn't get those straight on each other. So what we're going to do is go there. We're going to average both, and that makes sure they're on the same one. There we go. All right. So now we need to connect this to this outline. And this is just going to be the outline of our cut with our end mill. That's what we're working on right now. Question is, do we go slanted like this? Do we bring it in like this and that? I kind of like having a little bit more acrylic for the light to go up, but let's give it a shot. Let's take some risk here and see how just doing this little, and let's see if we can get the light up to the top there. So we're going to come in here again. We're going to add an anchor point, add one here, and add one here. And we're adding these three. Let's go ahead and lock that and delete there. Okay, let's find this point, delete there, get rid of these guys. So now we're going to want to add, let's add one there. Go up there, go up there, get rid of these, and control join. Nice. And delete and control join. And there we go. So we'll take this down to 1. That's going to be our outline cut. I oversized this, just find it gives a smoother edge. And there we are. Pretty quick and painless. Now, again, this is a simple design. Now we need to get our text. It should outline it when we export it, but where'd you go? Create outlines. And there. Now we have nice square outlines for when we cut that. All right. So now that we're there, now we just need to export this as an SVG. So we're going to export, and we just make sure we know what artboard we're on. We're on artboard 3. I'm going to go ahead. We can change this. Among Us, hit caps lock at some point. File, export, export as. We'll come in here, change it as SVG. Go put it in my SVG. Among Us. Use artboards, range 3. So we're saying this number right here, that's what we're going to save it as. Export. Okay. Internal CSS, convert to outline, preserve, minimal, decimal, and if you want to keep your sizing, take off responsive. So then we'll hit OK. So what happens next is you would go and import this into your CAM software. You set all your bits. If you need any help going over that, I do have a video on how to cut acrylic, which goes over the bits and the speeds, feeds, and all that fun stuff. So if you have any questions, something wasn't totally clear, ask them down in the comments below. I'll answer those and help you out as much as I can. If you have any ideas for future videos, let me know. Do have a few more planned out. They are a little bit more time intensive, so we'll see when those get done. Don't want to promise anything too early, but we'll have some more fun projects, even some builds. So until next time, happy cutting.